I need to kind of remember where we left off. The narrator, Plum Enumd, is insisting on our princess having a perfect story according to him. Things are working out fine now, but he wants to keep meddling, so we need to figure out how to stop him. You're rather bad at following directions, aren't you? And you're pretty bad at coming up with disasters, huh? I've ruined people's lives way harder than just making them talk backwards. Like this one time, I accidentally invited a bunch of pirates to this prince's villa where... Pirates, eh? Yes, I think I could work with that. Wait, no, I wasn't actually suggesting that to you. Too late! Snap. Oh, what have we done? Thank you for the idea, Fairy. I'll be sure to put it to good use. Now then, what rhymes with pirate? At least she's not talking backwards anymore. Alright, so maybe this isn't the right time to be asking, but how'd you end up becoming immortal anyway? You want to know my backstory? Has my carefully cultivated mystique captured your imagination? Do you wish for me to regale you with the enthralling tale of how a humble court poet stumbled across an unfathomable magical power and became an unbound from mere physical reality? Though you and I may stand opposed, I could never turn down a request from the audience. If you truly wish to know, to hear a tale never before told, to understand my illustrious past, I could perhaps indulge you. Actually, nah, I'm good. Story so far, no thanks to you, the story's been a listless mess up until now. But now that I'm taking charge, things will be a bit more orderly from here out. Just give me about 4 minutes to come up with a calamity and I'll have this narrative back on track. And don't even think about trying to interfere. Jade, welcome in, welcome! So we need to meddle with some objects to get him to just kind of like stop what he's doing. I don't even know what we need to meddle with to like stop him though. What were the last things that we meddled with? Vase of flowers, regal feast, rusty window, beverage pitcher. I think we were thinking of doing something with the seagull, right? So if we meddle with the window closes again, which means the seagull can't get out. What do I want to continue messing with? We can meddle with the snack bowl again. What will it turn the bananas into? The bowl of bananas seems to have been a big hit with the partygoers, but not quite so much as the goddess Lanera. Godparents and goddesses are kind of adjacent industries, so I guess I should try making it up to her before things get awkward at the next work meeting. Keshifuden. Ooh, Wiglet. I hope you're able to catch it. Magically empties and fills itself with oranges. Hey, Lanera, sorry about the whole getting your statue smashed thing. It was only sort of intentional. But look, I got you some oranges as an apology. You like oranges, right? Thunder. Or maybe I can get you a nice bowl of clementines, kumquats, tangelos? An hour ago, this was a bowl of candy, and then it turned into a bowl of bananas. Now it's oranges? Ah, but then again, who am I to ask questions of fate when she continues to deal me such a fair hand? Oh no, Jade! Darn. Just as the banana far surpasses candy and vitamin C, so too does the orange surpass the banana. Which means maybe if I give it another hour, this bowl will magically fill itself with bell peppers, or broccoli next. So I don't think that really did anything for me. But this becomes an orange peel now. What if I make this that creepy painting to get B-Plot and Princep Maxi out of here? They're over here now. And then why don't we have you play faster music? While I feel a little bad messing with this bard twice in one night, I did save her from being horribly murdered in another timeline. So I guess maybe we can call it even. Now that I need her to do something to help get rid of Plum. Something like... Sator Arepo Tenet Opera Rotus. The bard's sheet music changes again into a completely new song. Oh great, looks like another weird song just magically materialized. Knew I shouldn't have bought my music stand from the spooky antique store. Better put those years of sight reading practice to use. Let's see, 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2, 3, 4. Oh god! Sacred thefts. The trial of... What? The trial of the pig, the cheese, and the worms. Ah. Oh, now what is this infernal racket about? Oh no, is Castle Elfnor under attack? Don't know about that, but my preconceived notions of music sure are, and I kinda like it. Oh, what's that noise? It sounds familiar, like a bloodthirsty shriek from the Abyssal Realms. Music to my ears. Felix, does that sound a regular occurrence at Castle Elfnor? I've never heard it before. Good gods, what's happening? Squawk! Wow, she's just really going for the jugular there with that death screech. Talk about no holds barred. Ahem. Our heroine and prince rejoiced that fate had heard the wish she'd voiced. But Hilda's luck at last wore thin, for here a pirate entered in. Hilda, I know my memory's not the greatest, but were you always wearing that? Aye, methinks it be so, at least, Captain Brynhilda. Actually, that's fine. I can go along with this. That hat looks good on you, by the way. Aw, Felix, you're too kind. Oh, great. So now he decides to stop worrying about everything. Tell me what happens, morose notary. I swear, it seems like every year that man in the ballroom comes to the prince's birthday gala just to throw his trash all over the carefully swept floor. Last year it was cherry pits, the year before that it was peanut shells, and now he's gone and started dumping banana peels on the ground. I mean, really, where did he even get the bananas from? Eclick has a maritime climate, unsuitable for the cultivation of tropical fruits, so they're certainly not domestic. What a bothersome man. Before this evening's done, he and I are going to have a long talk about littering and geographically inappropriate agricultural products. Figures at the moment the bard started making that racket, the seagull would scarper off into another room. Notorious cowards, those seagulls. Oh sure, they act tough when they're stealing your fish sandwich, but when it's time to face the consequences, they just run and hide and poop on you. And now this one's probably gone and nestled up on top of one of the statues, or weirdly tall suits of armor, in the Great Hall, safe from retribution for its heinous crimes. Safe for now, at least, but once I find a 10-foot pole, you'd better believe that miserable fish plunderer is going to be in for a prodding of a lifetime. What? Okay, so the bird came over here and grabbed an orange. So maybe we leave them as bananas and it grabs a banana? So how's that pirate thing working out for you? Rather poorly, but I'm content to lay the blame for that on you. If not for your tiresome meddling, I'm sure I'd have been able to come up with a much more effective incantation. This is a very delicate and intricate craft, you know. It's 4 lines of iambic tetrameter with an AABB rhyme scheme. That's like as basic as it gets. If that's your misguided opinion, then perhaps I should try composing something a little fancier next time. Something a little snappier. Snap. So he makes us go back to 1 o'clock. Ah, I know what I'll do. Are you familiar with the concept of the dactyl? Is it related to the pterodactyl? Well, I suppose we'll find out soon, won't we? Rhymes with awful. Falafel? Boo. Ah. Oh, wait, it's just you. Don't startle me like that while I'm composing my poetry. This book is a very delicate magical artifact, 1/2 rhyme, and this whole thing goes up in flames. Sounds like a major design flaw, if you ask me. Yes, well, it turns out that reality is not very keen on being rewritten, at least not unless you firmly establish some guidelines first. But I'm sure you're just as uninterested in hearing the process behind my creation of the tome as you are the rest of my backstory. Actually, I'm kind of interested in this part. Everything else sounded boring, but reality warping magic could be pretty useful. Well, that's a pity, because I'm afraid I'm not in the habit of divvying out my backstory non-linearly. If you want to learn my secrets, you'll just have to sit down and listen to the full story in order from start to finish. If we don't have any interruptions, it shouldn't take any more than a week. Okay. Well, he did mention there something about going up in flames. And there was an idea that was presented to us some time ago about setting, like, these flags or these banners on fire. So I think what we're gonna do is meddle with the bard. And that makes the bird fly out over here. Let's get the suit of armor rattled. Crossed swords. And let's try to get this the absinthe. Hilda was having the time of her life, and yet all of that joy would be soon spoiled by regret. Though she was safe from the menacing minister, Hilda fell prey to a force rather sinister. Oof, I just felt the weirdest tingling in my arms. It feels almost as though Almost as though they were turning into solid gold, as though you'd pricked your finger on a poisoned needle, as though all the bones had been taken out of them. Almost as though I'm left-handed now. I haven't always been left-handed, have I? I'm pretty sure I used to be right-handed up until just now. Oh, sinister, as in archaic meaning of left. What an amusing little joke. What? And what a dreadful waste of my time. Finally, the gull. Thanks gods, it looks like the gull's finally decided to hit the road. Or, hit the wind? Whatever, at the very least, it doesn't look like it's going to hit the window on its way out. Finally, we'll have some peace and quiet. Or we would have had some peace and quiet, if not for whomever requested the bard play that awful cacophony. That ruckus barely even qualifies as music. You know, maybe I should take a leaf out of the gull's book and book it now before things get weirder around here. Which, based on past trends, should be any minute now. Okay, so we do need to close the window. Oh wait, the bird is here. With a banana. But if the window is closed, it goes over here. I think it didn't work. Yes, but what about the poetry of it? I used dactylic tetrameter this time, if you hadn't noticed. That's 3 whole syllables per foot, as opposed to 2 with the I am. It's more complex by half. Impressive, no? Still didn't work, though. That's the last time I invite you to workshop my poetry. Alright, so the window has to be closed. And the bard needs to be meddled with. The artistry would be wasted on you anyway. Now sit still and be quiet like a good little audience member. The show will resume in just a few minutes. So is the whole purple robes thing because you're named Plum? Or is Plum like a pseudonym you picked because you're always wearing purple? Feeling especially chatty tonight, aren't we? Let's maybe LP92. Hello, good evening. Welcome in. Thank you for redeeming first. But sure, I'll humor you if... excuse me, that would shut you up any faster. Plum Anomed is indeed a pseudonym under which I publish my writing. There's a more specific term for that, but the exact words escape me at present. In truth, I was born Aster of Mudslog, son and heir of the great barons of Sludgewallow, and it was under that name Aster that I made my literary debut as a poet. But it turns out that as a romantic poet, Aster of Mudslog isn't the most effective branding, and so the more fanciful Plum Anomed was born. My status in the Eclipse literary scene rapidly rose following this, and soon I was invited to Castle Eve, which preceded Elifnor, as a court poet, where I received the robes I wear even now. But at the time, of course, these robes were blue, as remain the official colors for most courtiers in the Royal Guards. To know how they become this distinctive shade of purple, you'll need to first... He's just going to keep going, isn't he? Maybe if I just fly away very quietly, he won't notice I've stopped paying attention. Alright, window closed. Okay. Bard playing metal music now. Let's mess with this, because that'll change what the knight is wearing. The night was calm, the mood was bright, as lovers stood in candlelight. But then misfortune struck them, yes, the magic sloughed from Hilda's dress. Hilda, your dress! Ah, I'm back in my regular clothes. I guess the magic must have worn off. Magic? You know, there's a lot I should probably explain to you about how I got here in the first place. But in the meantime, will I be alright here without my disguise? I'll make sure of it. You're my special guest, Hilda. If anyone has an issue with you being here, they'll have to get through me first. And this being my house, I feel I may have the upper hand here. Aw, Felix. Where's the drama if they can just resolve their problems by talking to one another? What I wouldn't give for a good quarrel instigated by a dramatic misunderstanding and lack of communication skills right about now. The gull in the armor. So the seagull's gone and perched itself on that suit of armor by the stairway. Typical seagull behavior. Next thing you know, it'll start squawking and pooping everywhere and impaling small vertebrates on thorns for future meals. Wait, I think that last one might actually be shrikes, but the squawking and pooping I'm dead certain is seagulls. If any poor soul standing is beneath that suit of armor right now, for their sake, I hope they're wearing a hat. Oh, okay. Alright, so doing all of that gets this guy to be here. Honestly, I don't why you thought that was gonna work. Consider it tasteful homage to the source material, or that was the intent at least. But in Cinderella, the prince didn't know she was a commoner. Without that, the entire premise of the scene falls apart. And what would you know? Well, I know you can't just copy elements of successful works into your own and expect them to function the same way. You need to understand why the original artist chose those elements and how they functioned in their original context. Or something like that anyway. Look, I'm not a writer. Then why don't you leave the writing to the professionals, Alright, well, doing that made it so that he didn't have a hat. If I needed a ghostwriter, I assure you I know plenty of highly qualified ghosts. What I still don't get is why you picked Hilda and Felix of all people for this story. I mean, just look at them. We're not exactly talking about a pair of active, self-motivated protagonists here. What I still don't get is why you insist on flying over and repeatedly bothering me with questions to which you barely even seem to want to know the answers. I am, as I have exhaustively established, very busy, and you're absolutely not helping with that. Yeah, helping you wasn't really what I was going for here. Yes, that much was readily apparent to me. Water time, by the way. But I do hate leaving backstory unexposited, so I suppose it's your lucky night, fairy. I chose Hilda and Felix because a retelling of Cinderella requires a princept, or at least a fairly well-to-do noble heir, and shocking as this may be, Felix was actually the most qualified candidate in all of Eklich. Funny how centuries upon centuries of convolutedly insular court traditions and arranged marriages have rendered even the most romantically inclined of Eklich upper class as incapable of interesting courtship as the average rock. Though, having visited the underground republic of the Crystal Elves, perhaps I'm being too unkind to rocks. If we make the knight look like this guy back here, will that make the bird nest on this guy's head? Ahem. Happy was this lovers' meeting, but that happiness was fleeting. As they basked in fate's good graces, our two lovers traded places. My head feels somewhat off. Felix? I think we might have a problem here. Oh, they've literally traded bodies. Okay. A body swapping problem. You're right. We've somehow traded places. I've heard of such a thing happening before, albeit only in fictional romantic comedies. Do you think we can still change back? I think I know someone who can help. But right now, while we're like this, maybe this is an opportunity? I know you've always wanted to be able to travel freely outside the castle, instead of getting dragged around by Minuet all the time. Oh, that's brilliant! And if you're in my body, you'll be able to do as you please inside the castle without anyone questioning you. You did mention wanting to take a trip to the Royal Library. You know, Felix, I think this could end up being pretty fun. What a charming open-mindedness those two have about their circumstances. I'd almost be tempted to let them go through with their little shenanigans. Almost. Alright, nothing new here. So the bird still sits on the statue and not that guy. But what if there is no like, does the bird sit here instead? I have an idea. Come back to tell me off again, have you? Nah, this plot twist actually seems pretty cool. Hilda and Felix swap bodies, lead each other's lives for like a week or two, and learn some important lessons about understanding others and being true to yourself. Just drop the whole wedding angle right at the end, and I'll be down to give it a whirl. Well then, if this storyline has your official seal of approval, then I'm definitely resetting it. Alright, let's try without the knight. As much of a nuisance as you've been this evening, I admit it's somewhat useful keeping you around. With you as an example, I always know exactly what not to do. Oh joy, you again. Come to ask me another ridiculous question, or are you just here to be a nuisance? Well, originally it was going to be the latter, but now I actually do have a question. If dealing with me is such a pain, why didn't you just do everything yourself from the start? And cut out the middle fairy? An enticing prospect, but I'm afraid that's not how storytelling works. Having positioned myself as an impartial, omniscient third-person narrator, I have certain obligations to the story, one of which is not getting personally involved. Ideally, I wouldn't even be a character at all in this narrative, just a friendly, charming voice relating the events of the evening to an enraptured audience. So basically, you've already gone and totally botched everything, huh? No thanks to you, Fairy, but I'm sure nothing a few cuts here and there can't fix. Starting, perhaps, with you. Okay. Alright, so that gets the bird in here. We've never messed with the cake. A whole new cake magically replaces the old one, complete with freshly lit candles. Ah, okay, so maybe this is how we get something set on fire. Throughout the castle, all was well, as far as our dear pair could tell. But though it seemed they escaped from harm, a witch swooped in and cast a charm. Hilda, did you sense something just now? No, why? Actually, to be honest, I didn't sense anything either, but for some reason I felt compelled to ask. Almost as though I've done so before, repeatedly, at this exact moment in time. Excuse me? What was that supposed to be? I specified a witch? And I'm certain my rhyme was correct, or else this book would have exploded already. The state of affairs is simply unacceptable for... Oh, what's this? It seems someone has snuck a slip of paper into my book. It reads, "Thanks for contacting the Wordcraft Witch Agency. We are currently closed. Our witching hours are 12 to 1, excluding weekends and on-holidays. If you'd like to schedule a hex, omen, or multi-generational curse, please leave a sacrificial offering nailed to a tree in the woods, and one of our certified witching agents will contact you at the next available opening. You can also reach us by seance or visit us on the web at the Grotto of the Spider Queen." The literal web, okay. Well, that's the last time I try to deal with private contractors. Someone's been stealing Pluminomed Gullin statue. So nothing else happens here. The bird just kind of appears here. Alright, let's go back. You really bungled that one, huh? If you weren't such a mass of pain, I'd feel kinda bad for you. That's quite enough backtalk from you, Fairy. I don't see you conjuring up any grand schemes to stop me either. And besides, that one wasn't my fault. If those accursed witches had more sensible business hours, we'd be well on our way to disaster by now. I know, right? I don't even want to think about how much time I could have saved if they'd picked any other hour except for midnight for their shift. I hear they don't even make their own curses. They just buy them in bulk from a distributor in Heapsbury and resell them at a markup. And then there was that unpleasant business with the gingerbread. I wince a little just thinking about it. But, you know, I'm just glad to have someone to commiserate with. It seems we're very much on the same page here, so to speak. Yeah, I think you and I actually have a lot in common. Wait a second. This is absolutely not happening. Indeed, if you hadn't interrupted, that might have come dangerously close to bonding. So let's never speak of this again. Agreed. Alright, well maybe maybe the fire is really like what we need to do. Back to a seemingly interminable cycle of mutual antagonism while steadfastly ignoring the similarities in our personalities. I wouldn't have it any other way. So, Fairy, you were very rude to me last several times. I deigned to indulge in your relentless pestering. Why do you think I'd so much as give you the time of day now? Because explaining things to people is pretty much the only joy left in your miserable, unending husk of a life? And I'm literally the only person you can talk to here without messing up the story. You really know how to rip all the fun out of exposition, don't you? I don't know why I even bother talking to you. Now, I remember as well that the banner, like, when we meddle with the banner, it basically, like, creates, like, a line, right? Yeah. Ah, here we go. Mrs. Epitaph Fox, thank you very much for the splash. Unfortunately, it does nothing, but it does let me know that you're here. Alright, so if this is all the way over here, if we somehow light this on fire, the fire can spread through the painting, or the poster, and then it's lighting this up, which will then light all of this up, and then we can light these flags on fire. So then if this is absinthe, maybe it'll explode. But how do we get the cake fire to get over here? Well, I suppose we don't need this to be made of fire. Like, it would just be something on fire near him to get his attention or something. Still doesn't explain how we would get the fire over here, though. I think if we don't do anything, the bird, like, flies in here. Or maybe we mess with the food? But then some stuff occurred, I guess. It's hard to write while under stress. And worse, to make that writing rhyme, let's try the fish thing one more time. Lore, welcome in, welcome. Good luck catching the Ultra Ball. Tried sitting with Layla. She wanted nothing to do with me. Aw. Glub, glub, glub. Okay, let's be reasonable here, Felix. Hilda's a mermaid, apparently, but what difference does that make? Hey, you caught the Volcarona. Nice. That's nowhere near as surprising as the revelation that popular culture has had the respective halves of mermaids wrong this whole time. And besides, she's still the same Hilda, you know, and, oh, come now, Felix, you can say it. The same Hilda, you know, and, Felix, are you okay there? Yes, completely fine, just thinking about how much I love you. Wait. Oh, Felix, it's so sudden, but I love you too. Oh, come on, they can't confess their love for one another like that. That's flagrantly wrong and out of sequence. It's just... it's pointless, isn't it? I need to go erase this whole timeline from existence before it can become even more of a farce than it already is. Okay, here we go. Bread will light on fire. Jesus Christ. Stay put and don't meddle with anything that I need to clarify further, or are you always this bad at following directions? Wait, what? A seagull that appears slightly confused by the flaming baguette in its mouth, and I assure you it's not the only one feeling a little put off here. Something's burning? Oh god, the seagulls have learned how to commit arson now. Somehow that feathery little miscreant managed to get its beak on a baguette and then light the baguette on fire, and now it's poised to burn down the castle at a moment's notice. I shudder in fear at what fresh horrors this new world of criminal birds may bring. I always thought it would have been the dolphins that turned against us first, or maybe the horses, but who would have thought the flames of interspecies warfare would come raining down from the skies? I suppose the time has come to invest in a scarecrow or two for the castle, and if possible, a scaregull. Well, I guess we don't need the window to be closed. Right? So, like, we need to mess with these two things to get this to happen. And then we need to mess with the bard to get the bird into here or in here. And then we need to mess with the banner to have that happen. But we also need to mess with this. So that's like 5 things we need to mess with that we can't have. So we got 1, 2. Oh, wait, but if the window is open... then the bird comes in here, right? I'm gonna try a couple of different things here. I must admit, Fairy, after this many fruitless attempts at orchestrating my calamity, I'm a smidge more appreciative of your own tenacity in settling Hilda's problems. Especially considering how grossly unreliable your magic appears to be, even in comparison to my own. However do you manage to plan around such a glaring liability? I don't. I mean, usually I just shoot things with magic at random and hope it works out somehow. Roll the dice enough times and eventually they've got to turn up lucky, yeah? A fascinating perspective. Absolutely the most asinine thing I've heard all night, but fascinating all the same. And I've hardly got anything to lose. I might need to look at a hint here. Let's give this random chance thing a whirl, If nothing else, it'll at least be easier to rhyme. You do realize I control all the narration in this story, yes? And I'm none too inclined to offer hints on how to best me. Not that you ever could, of course, as long as I have my magic book. And then Path B, I'll have to be a very great fool to offer you any guidance on how to further subvert my plans, so why don't we use this narration for something more pleasing, like some of my poetry. For you, I'll even make it rhyme. Our heroine in violet clad has wooed the prince with cape of orange, yet their fates be ill, not glad. For here descends the cruelest... Oh, bother, not this again. Oh, because he's trying to rhyme with orange. Just to be clear, that wasn't a hint. I'm absolutely not suggesting you attempt to destroy my book using fire or any other means, and it would be futile to even try, so let's just drop this line of inquiry. Alright, so one solution involves the oranges, the other one involves the fire. Okay. Well, we need to do these two to get the bird to have fire. And the bird comes in here when the bard is playing. So maybe we can just do the tasteless art and the bard. How glad was Hilda having got her prince? But then, by twist of plot, our Hilda ceased to be that glad, for something happened. It was bad. That was bad. I don't think I'd noticed before, but those colors look really good on you, Hilda. Aw, thanks, Felix, although they seem somehow familiar. Back to the drawing board, then. Her outfit turned green. Alright. Bird on fire in here. Nothing else happened. Let me guess, a snap again? Well, it's not as though I never learned how to whistle. I think we're slowly running out of customized text attempts. I'm sure you know the drill. Yep, there we go. Goodness me. Is there another way we can get the bird to carry something on fire out of here? That doesn't involve, like, changing the fish into bread? Oh, the statue! That's what it would be. Because it's gonna rest on the statue's head. Okay. It seemed our lover's future would be blessed as you might think it should, but nothing good befell the two. I leave the details up to you. Well, shall we step onto the dance floor, Hilda? Hilda? Sorry to remind me who Hilda is? That's Mildred. I think we can do a little better. Nothing else there. Okay, so it didn't come in here because the window was still open. Okay. So the window still needs to be shut. At least the fire would be over here, at least. Okay. I think I have it now. Ready to give up? This is tricky. Window closed. Burning bread. I'll be honest, I didn't even want to read that. I don't think I noticed before. Those colors look good on you. Wait, where's the bird? Bird is on fire over here. What am I supposed to do? I think we are supposed to do something here. Like the fire will come up here and burn these things. Okay. Maybe we ignore the night altogether. Ignore the night. I'm pretty sure we know at least half of what we need to do. How glad was Hilda having got her prince, but then twist a plot. Yeah. Alright, so the bird with the fire does get here. I'm very unfortunately at a loss here. Time to Google. Okay. I don't think I would have figured this out on my own. So, I'm glad I looked it up. Azzy, welcome in, welcome! How are you doing? We need to meddle with the book. And a bigger splash. Alright, Azzy. We will get some of that displaced water safely into the confines of my streaming video feed area. Good to hear that you're good. Well, wait, was that my book of chivalric lay you just zapped with magic? My beautiful art which you've taken and turned into some sort of tawdry crime thriller? Yeah, so what? Not the first time I've done it. Yes, well, defiling the literary canon as my accomplice may be acceptable collateral damage, but now that you've made it your animosity explicit, I have no choice but to interpret that as a slight against my honor. Oh no, how terrible. And you're going to do what exactly? I'm going to stand over there, where I don't have to look at this travesty. And when it comes time for me to narrate about you again, you'd best brace yourself for some rather inamicable adjectives and similes. So he moves. Okay. And that's how we can get the fire over here. Oh, okay. So we need to do the book, and then we do the feast, and the happy birthday sign, and the cake. It seemed our lover's future would be blessed as you might think it should, but nothing good befell the two. I leave the details up to you. Oh no, my slipper. I must have lost it somewhere on the way over to the mezzanine. I guess that's why Ivy gave me this backup slipper, and lucky me, it's even for the correct foot. Back to the drawing board then. No, why is the bird still here? Is that instructions for something else? Alright, well, we can move him here, and that's kind of what's important. How distasteful. Well, we still need to mess with the bard to get the bird to leave that room, right? Okay, something is different here now. Okay. We just needed him to be next to the bird with the burning bread. Okay. Do I really need to describe what's going on here? You know perfectly well what you've done to this poor bird, and frankly, it's a massive fire hazard. Yeah, your latest calamity was pretty weak considering how long you spent trying to come up with that rhyme. I was referring to you. All that effort just to burn some bread and bother a seagull. Squawk, squawk? It's no wonder you're on the verge of being demoted. Oh, but don't fret, although you scarcely deserve to keep your job, you'll get to file a good report anyway once I finish your work for you. I can be a gracious winner after all. Alright, that's more than enough out of you. You're not a gracious winner, you're not some miraculous being who gets to decide people's fates for them. You're not even a writer. You're just some clown with a magic book and a god complex, and you've seriously overstayed your welcome here. Clown I can handle, and god complex is, well, it may not be wholly inaccurate, but to impugn my dignity as a writer? You don't understand what you're getting into, fairy. A shouting match with a guy who loves the sound of his own voice? I think I can handle that. When I say you don't seem to understand, I'm only being honest. You're genuinely in over your head here. You've seen what I did to Hilda, of course, but consider that a trifle compared to what could befall you. A reverse mermaid? Why, I could turn you entirely into a fish with the right incantation. Or would you fancy becoming a frog instead? A tree? Transmutation is a particular forte of mine. If I felt like it, I could even turn you into a duck. A duck? I mean, yes, I could, but that's nothing terribly impressive. Oh, she was telling him to duck. Ah, get off me, you winged vermin! Begone, keep your wretched orange beak away from my... Squawk! Squawk, squawk, squawk. What a filthy animal. We are burning his book! Next time we have one of these little chats, I'll have to remember to do it far away from any open windows. Now, where were we? Ah, that's right. The various things into which I could... Whoosh. Oh. Oh, dear. I did tell you to duck. My book! My magical rights! My intricately outlined story! You've ruined everything. Yeah, it turns out I'm pretty good at ruining things. Now be a good little wizard and scamper on home before I have to take drastic measures. You're the one who ought to be running, Fairy, if you could only grasp the gravity of your transgressions. You think you've bested me just because you've destroyed my book? Do you take me for some cheap stage magician clinging to his props? I have more arcane power in my little finger than you've wielded in your entire miserable existence, and now you'll finally see exactly what I'm capable... Summon fish. We've summoned fish. Summon fish? Really now? I hardly think that constitutes drastic measures. As I was saying, drastic measures would be something more like... Oh, here comes the seagull again. Ah. Something more like that. Stop, be gone. Ah, my eyes, feather in my eyes. No, not the mustache, not the mustache. Well, hopefully that'll keep him away from Castle Elifnor for a while. And if he tries to come back here, there's always plenty more fish in the sea. Or in the extra-dimensional hyperspace fairy void, as it were. Speaking of fish, I think I've still got one last thing to take care of. Hilda! Ivy! How are things going? Are you alright? Do you feel at all fishy? Are your sentences in the right order? I'm doing fine, actually. The same as I was a couple minutes ago, which was the last time we spoke. Did something happen? Nope, nothing happened at all. Super quiet these last 4 minutes. Well, in that case, Felix and I were actually just about to... Hilda, is there somebody over there? Oh, Ivy, should we maybe leave this for later, or... It's fine. The whole secret fairy godparent deal is mostly an urban legend anyway. Let's have some formal introductions, yeah? Invisibility magic deactivate! Sort of. For Felix, specifically. Nice to meet you. A little green pixie? What's going on? Fairy, actually. Big distinction, legally speaking. But enough about that. I'm just glad to have a chance to properly meet you. You can call me Ivy. I'm Hilda's fairy godparent. Sorry for keeping this secret from you, Felix, but Ivy's really the only reason I was able to make it here in the first place. It's sort of a long story, but apparently wishes on stars do actually come true every now and then. Though, on account of Fairyland's gambling lobbyists, I'm not allowed to disclose the exact odds. Anyway, I'm the one who arranged the horse, the carriage, the dress, the counterfeit invitation, etc. That, and the seagull. Oh, that was you too? I can't tell you how much that means to me, Ivy. Indeed, we are in your debt, good fairy. How can we ever repay you? I know leaving out a saucer of milk and bread is traditional for fairies, but... Actually, little known fact, but the whole milk and bread thing is just some nonsense the Mouse King invented to get free food. Wouldn't recommend it myself, super unhygienic. And as for me, I'm already plenty satisfied. For a fairy godparent, the real reward is your smiling faces, plus the fat stack of fairy dollars coming in my next paycheck. Though having said that, my work here is not truly done until I grant Hilda's third wish. Any thoughts on what you want to wish for? My third wish? I mean, I've already done all the things I wanted to do this evening, so I can't think of anything major. No worries, a little wish is fine too. Actually, after everything I've been through this evening, the easier the better, really. In that case, it's not really related to the other wishes, but I've always wanted to fly, you know? Oh, I've always wanted to fly as well! Though I've also always been deathly afraid of heights, but I think the two somewhat cancel each other out. So for my third wish, I guess it's a bit cliche, but can you make it so that Felix and I can fly? Just for a little while is fine. It's more about the experience than anything, I think. Gotta say, Hilda, you made an excellent choice for your last wish. I might be a little biased, but flying, it's pretty great. Not gonna lie. So let's get you two airborne. We'll take it slow and steady, one at a time. Felix, you're up first. I can feel the butterflies in my stomach taking flight already. Which, in this context, is possibly a good sign. Here's hoping! Poof! Flight! Poof! Squawk? Felix? Not this again. Looks like we're gonna need another fish. That was a very cute game. I actually really enjoyed that. That last puzzle was actually really tough, though. The fact that, like, all of the fabric was kind of lining up was really, like, a misdirection. I thought we had to set all of that on fire, and that there would be, like, a trail of fire. If I hadn't looked up the solution, I probably wouldn't have thought, like, let me start trying other things. It really felt like I was on the right track already, and I guess I kind of was. I needed to select something else, but it didn't line up with everything else that I was doing. I'm very happy with this game, though. I'm glad that I grabbed it and decided to play it. It was definitely a lot longer than I anticipated it being, but it was a very enjoyable experience. A really funny and well-written game as well, I must say. Thank you so much to Rez, the creator of this game. I did say we were only streaming until I was finished playing this, so we're going to just end it off here. Our next stream is on Tuesday, starting around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's technically going to be the last stream of the July of BS. Actually, no, Thursday's the 31st, so I can pick out a couple of different games before we start Tunic officially on Sunday, next Sunday, August the 3rd. I'm really looking forward to playing through Tunic. I don't know how long it'll take us to beat that game, but hopefully not too long. Anyway, that is it for me for today. I want to thank Azzy Dreamwalker, or Azzy Dreams, as the name now says, Lore, Mrs. Epitaph Fox, Jade, as well as anyone else who may have been lurking or otherwise for being here hanging out. Let's Maybe LP92 was here earlier as well. It's good to be back streaming. I just wish that I didn't have to take a break from streaming before, because of the circumstances that caused me to have to stop streaming. I really wish that set of circumstances never happened in the first place, but here we are in the present. Let's go ahead and drain my camera feed. There we go. All that water has been drained out. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, and goodbye.